Yeah,
Going way back, buddy.
I think that's the only time that's gonna be brought back.
Anyways, good. Because the moment that grate opens, I'm going to extend the ladder, and you need to get up there and hold the grate for the two of us to come up.
First one up. I got it.
And Dante, you'll forgive me, but I trust him to go up first and hold the steel grate open. But likewise, I'm going to have to go up second. I don't trust you to be up there alone with him with a sword while he has to hold the grate open.
He looks at you. When the
I
grate
give you my word that we will hold the grate open for you to come up afterwards.
He looks at you and then looks at him and says, "When the grate opens, I will help you hold the ladder, and then I will give you my sword and knife. If you'll let me go second." Sorry, but I'm afraid I can't take your word on this. Would you trust me if I promised not to hurt your friend?
Quite frankly, until you prove yourself, I don't trust you anyways.
Exactly. But if I give you all of my weapons, I can do little harm to your friend. And he says, patting Flint's armor.
Flint, can we
Yes.
agree to these conditions?
I suppose. I just look at the other guy. Just don't try anything funny in the vents. It's a long fall down.
I don't plan to. I believe no one wants to get out of Graham more than me. And I thank you for your generosity in showing me a way out.
Flint, how much weight... Shit. Danny, how much weight does Flint have on him?
Which one has the more up-to-date one? This one. I have 43 kilos on me.
How much can you carry?
56.
Alright, how much does his sword weigh? Because his knife is... half a kilogram.
Yeah, I don't think swords are very heavy.
No. But my point is, he's going to have to give his sword and knife to Flint, because otherwise I can't carry it, so he's going to hand it to me. I'm going to drop it on the ground and climb up the ladder. And I'll be like, I gave you my word.
My regular sword, because I have a sword and knife.
Mm-hmm. His is 3.5 kilograms.
Okay, so it's an extra 4 kilograms. So, in that case,
So he has a big sword.
Flint, I know you're injured, but do you think I could possibly burden you with some more?
I stick my hand out to grab it.
To grab what? I haven't taken anything yet.
Well,
Well-
just whatever you're gonna give him.
Yeah.
Got it. Dante, I'm going to ask for your sword and knife now, because if Flint is going up first and I can't trust you with it, you either give it to him and he takes them up, or you give it to me and I have to leave them behind, as I can't carry it anymore.
He unfastens his hilt and hands it to Flint and keeps his knife and says, "I'll leave the knife behind. But I'm keeping it on me until the vent opens."
If you'd like, once he's up, a half kilogram, sorry. I guess, once he's up and I pull my knife out and show it to him, I can hold a second knife. It's just the sword that would be too much for me.
Very
if you would
well.
like to bring it with, you can
As soon
hand
as
that
he's
to
up.
me.
Yeah, as soon as he's up, I'll give you my knife.
Okay. Then it looks like, hopefully, you will be escaping with both your weapons.
Excellent.
It's just a matter of not dying before that vent opens.
Yes, well, the spiders seem to be busy with something on higher levels than this.
Really hoping it stays that way.
As am I. So, now what do you guys want to do? Or do you guys want to keep talking?
I'm keeping my eye both on the vent and Dante, but while doing so, it's been a while, so I'm going to pull out one of the cans of food that I have in my bag and open it up.
Okay.
So, you said the labels have pretty much all been worn away, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does the food look or smell or...
It looks like a soup, and as you smell it, it smells lightly of lentil, but mostly of water.
I
Is
like
there
soup.
anything combustible nearby that I could set alight?
No, it's all basically plascretin metal.
Okay. Flint, have you any food on you?
I do.
And you, Dante? Did you bring anything from the kitchen? Or do you basically just return? Or basically, do you merely
I
return?
keep enough on me to keep me sustained on my expeditions.
Then I recommend we all have a light meal, unless you have eaten recently.
He looks at
Because-
your can of soup and says, "I don't think you should eat the canned goods here. They've
Why
been
is
here
that?
for quite some time."
What have you been eating?
He pulls out a small, like, Cliff Bar sized thing of corpse starch. I found a supply of cryo refrigerated corpse starch that I keep as my primary means of food as when I go out. Since it is so lightweight. Would you like some?
I would love some. The canned food is all we've been eating since our ration packs were spoiled.
Ah. How did they spoil? Those things almost never go bad.
One of our party members brought great misfortune.
He looks at you warily
That's putting it lightly.
and hands both of you.
He was a walking bad luck charm.
I've known a few of those in my time.
If it could go wrong, it did.
And he hands both of you the corpse starch bar.
That's still putting it lightly.
It is, but it's not saying to Dante, "We had a witch with us! We associated with a witch! Burn us!" Please, I implore you to trust us as we go up this ladder. Also, we're friends with a witch. Guy who we met 20 minutes ago.
So yeah, he hands you guys the bar.
Alright,
Oh, I'd be so
So-
happy.
go ahead and scarf that shit down.
Yep.
Can't be any worse than the melted down, spoiled ration pack that I boiled like 12 hours ago.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah.
that's gross.
That's pretty nasty. So now what are you guys gonna do?
Well, once we're as full as we're gonna get, the waiting game continues.
Alright. Are you just gonna wait until it opens then?
Yeah.
Unless anything else of note happens, or Dante has anything else to say, because I've questioned him as best I can, because he seems reluctant to give any information. Plus,
Okay.
Mercury doesn't even know who he's going to go to with this information. It's not like he's working for an Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Or if
Alright.
he is, he's dead.
So yeah, you guys wait for another few hours, making just a general chit chat every once in a while, but for the most part, just keeping an eye out to make sure spiders don't show up or anything else sneaks up on you.
Oh, actually, before anything else happens, I do have something else to talk to Dante about.
Okay, sure.
Sorry.
After a few hours, you decide to talk to Dante about something.
About less than idle chit chat.
Mm-hmm.
So, when first we met, you mentioned that you had been leaving treasures behind because you could no longer carry anything.
Yes.
What kind of treasures did you deem worthy to keep with you, and what did you find? What did you leave behind? We could find nothing. The most
Yes,
valuable
I
item
spent-
we found were some iron ingots.
Ah, you made it to one of the forges. Yes, I've been to many fabrication centers, and I've also been to the place where the unfortunate chosen go before they are released. There are many interesting things there, and I managed to procure a few, but many of them were too heavy to keep on me, as I preferred light agility to escape the spiders and monstrosities that wander about.
So the treasures you speak of are not lost Graian technologies, but rather just the belongings of the unfortunate chosen.
No, many, they are what the psychotic would give the chosen before they went out. I'm not sure their origin, if he created them or if they are from Graia, but they are most definitely not of Valanthia.
Well, I realize that this relationship is built around a shaky trust at best, but would you mind if I saw one? I needn't hold it. I merely wish to see what you speak of.
Very well. He reaches into a small satchel on his hip, and he pulls out a small single card and shows it to you, and then sets it on the wall and twists it, and you can see it immediately begin vibrating, and he just slips it into the wall and then begins to cut the wall, the plascrete of the wall, and then pulls it out. And he cuts out basically like a full brick chunk, and then hands you a piece of the wall.
How many of these do you have?
A few. Only the lightest ones that I could carry or seemed useful to have in this place.
Is that all? Is that all Siphus gave the Chosen?
Well, he clothed them. He gave some weapons. He gave others these odd relics, I suppose. And then he sent them out on their way.
You said you had a few of those relics?
I do.
What would it take to exchange for one of them from you?
Well, perhaps we shall talk about that as soon as we're out of here.
We have a few hours, and no one else around to hear of these wondrous devices that you possess. I believe now to be a much better time.
Yes, well, let me think about it, because I don't know which one I'd want to part with. All of these have saved my life on many occasions. And, to be honest, As long as I'm in here, I'd like to keep a hold of all of them.
Fair enough.
Perhaps when we're in the vents, I will talk to you about it. But when we are in here with no means of escape, I would like to at least hold on to them all.
Fair enough. Though I suppose I should ask, if that's capable of cutting through plascrete so easily, do you think that could cut through a meter-thick block of, or no, it's only a meter by a meter, but it's like that thick, right?
Yeah, it's probably like 6 inches thick.
Do you think it could cut through 6 inches of solid metal?
Perhaps. I'm not sure, I would have to cut away at the metal, but... Because the card's only, like 4 inches or so.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to cut away at the metal, but... Given enough time, perhaps.
Once we make our way up into the vent, do you think would it possibly go faster if there were 2 or 3 of us working at it?
I only have the one card.
Oh, I thought he said he had a few.
He has a few relics,
Oh.
but he only carries this card, that does that. He
Oh.
has other relics that do other things.
Oh, okay. Then I shall have to ask him to showcase those once we get out. But, anyways. Once we get into the vent, if you wouldn't mind postponing our departure from Graia for a few minutes, I should like to cut the vent open so that we never have to wait down here for this again, if ever we end up in this unholy place once more.
Yes, I suppose that sounds good to me as well. Very well. Once we're up, I will cut away at the vent grate. Or the vent.
As you do so, I shall return your sword and knife.
Excellent.
Alright. So that was what I wanted to ask him.
Okay.
Came here looking for fucking relics and found iron ingots.
So, Flint, is there anything that you want to do? You've been awfully quiet over there.
I
Your
have
purple
been.
hair.
I have been.
Anything you want to ask him or do before we wait some more couple hours?
Yeah. I've been pretty much just observing Mercury and him talking and kind of just taking my own little mental notes.
Yeah, I don't think,
I don't think I would offer much to the conversation at this point.
Okay. Well then, you guys wait another couple of hours, and at the immediate moment of a tss from above you, Mercury, he fastens his knife and hands it out to you with one hand grabbing the ladder and swinging it into position.
likewise, I, with one hand, take the knife, with the other, help raise the ladder, and I'm assuming Flint at this point is either getting up and heading towards the ladder,
let
or...
Flint make that decision.
I know, I'm saying, I'm assuming he's doing that, but if he's not, he needs to tell me, so I can yell at his face.
You can always just yell at his face, even if he's getting up and doing that. Flint, what are you doing?
Getting up the damn ladder.
Alright, would you like to make a climb test? Because you're trying to get up at an extreme speed.
Oh my god. Those purple guys. There's climb. Fuck me. Oh my god. Hold on. Hold on.
First of all, I was going to give you a climb test plus 10. So if you'd like to use a fate point to re-roll that...
I would love to use a fate point to re-roll that.
Re-roll that using a plus 10.
Come on, 100.
There we go.
Excellent. Yes. Flint...
He went from just chopping the ladder in half,
basically.
sliding up it.
Gets to the very top, and the telescoping, like, the bindings get loose. And
He goes down and every single rung breaks on the way down.
Oh god.
Yes. No. Flint grabs onto the ladder almost as quickly as you and Dante get it into position, and he flies up it with a quickness. Gets to the other side well before the vent closes, and secures it.
All right.
Then Dante goes up the ladder. And then he holds the ladder, he holds the ladder from the top as Flint holds the thing open.
All right. So, and we've left nothing down here.
No.
Flint grabbed his gun back off the pile of rubble and...
Mhm.
Okay. Then yeah, so
Never
I
do again.
climb the ladder and get out of this godforsaken place.
As you get up to the top of the ladder, Dante looks at you and says, "Would you mind holding the ladder to make sure it doesn't fall while I cut away at the iron or the steel grate?"
Yes, should I retract it up into the vent with us for the time being in case we need to go back down, or should I merely hold it while Flint holds the grate and you cut it?
Just hold it in case when I cut it free, Flint loses some grip. I don't want the ladder to fall back down, but at the same time, in case I come in or we come in through a different means, I'd like to be able to access it from either above or below and leave it up.
Mm-hmm.
Though,
All right.
if push comes to shove, I think it would be best if it was still down there.
Yes. All right. So I hold the ladder in place for him.
Alright, he takes out his card and asks Flint to keep it, like, steady, and then begins to cut at the bottom, now that the smaller bit of metal is exposed, and he can cut through it more quickly. So, after about a minute and a half, that happens, and then it breaks free, and Flint, you're able to push it to the side before it falls towards Mercury.
Okay.
And
Right.
the vent is now permanently open.
All right. I can live with a vent suspended in the air, 15 meters up off the ground, being permanently open. The gates to cry a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've fulfilled my end of the bargain. May I have my sword back, please, Flint?
Yeah.
And
I hand
so
it back
I
to
don't
him.
have to hold the ladder anymore, right? Because the
No,
thing's gone.
yeah, it's
not
the
sliding,
ladder's
so.
secured to this. It's just if anything went wrong while we did the cutting.
Mhm.
You didn't want to lose the ladder, necessarily. Like, you could always pull it up enough to where the thing would just land on it.
Yeah. So I release the ladder and pull his knife out and hand that to him as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He looks over Flint's... He looks at Flint and says, "Could I trouble you to borrow one of your... Well, could I trouble you for one of your fire bombs, perhaps?"
Why do you need one of my fire bombs?
You see him loose a small cable from his belt, and he ties an end to the metal grate that you just cut off, and he ties another one to a valve, and pulls it very taut, and says, "Though I don't think the machine men could get out of here, I would at least like to prevent a spider from being too curious."
Fair.
You don't have to hand it to me, if you're any good with bombs. I just need you to secure it to this. And he pulls out the end of the cable that would trigger the device.
Okay. Do I have to make a roll for that?
Yeah, you have to roll demolitions.
Oh god.
But it's a plus 30 demo, because it's a very simple contraption.
I'll still fail it.
Probably. Good.
Jesus Christ. Oh my god.
You're the best. How did you roll another 96?
You want to fate point that too?
That'll be my last one.
No,
We've already been playing for like an hour and a half. This was basically a session to get out of Graya. We could go a little bit longer, but
well, anyways, you secure it, and he looks at you a bit questioningly, and he kind of just changes a few things as soon as you or as soon as you get up from the firebomb. This should work a bit better.
Look, it is just not my day.
It happens. It happens. But yes, the firebomb appears to be correctly assembled now to the trap. I suppose we should get out of here before anything comes looking for us.
Agreed.
yes.
You all begin walking down the vent, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
Walking down that vent.
Make my way downtown.
God damn it, another fucking spider.
Mercury said, as spiders bust through the vents.
Fucking huge spider. I'm not a fan of it, but it is on the ceiling right now.
Good. Hopefully it just falls on you. And I get
Shit
to
my
see it
pants.
land on your face.
Shit my pants so hard.
Yeah.
Coming towards me.
Zach's staring at the sun.
Yep. Zach stares into the sun.
The sun looks an awful lot like spiders.
That sucks. It's a horrifying
It's
sun.
terrifying.
We are in Graya.
We are.
God, no, go the other way. Please. I hate this. Anyways. So we're walking down the vent.
Yeah. You guys gonna do anything before you get to the end of the vent? Or just get to the end of the vent?
We can get to the end of the vent. I want to get the fuck out of here.
And there's not really anything between what was the grate and the entrance/exit. So yeah, we're just gonna.
Alright, you guys get to the end of the vent, push the end of the vent open, and you see the beautiful sight of sweet, sweet desert in the early morning.
I don't like this.
I'm gonna have to ban Barrett from chat.
Well,
Or myself.
yeah. Danny,
That
ban
video.
yourself from chat.
Okay.
Anyways. So now that you guys are out into the Grayan desert, what do you want to do?
Get to a hospital.
Well, there's no hospital. There's merely an encampment. There might be like a medical tent, but
We're going there.
well, before we do, because we're off on the side of Graya, right? Not like
You're off
far
to
to
the
the side,
side of
but-
the main gate.
yeah, we're a ways away from the Oasis encampment, correct? And by
Yeah.
a ways, I mean
Not very far, but a decent way.
yeah. But it would be odd for someone to be over here and see us come out or hear us talking.
Probably.
I mean, it's flat desert as far as we can. Well, not flat as far as we can see, but it's flat desert for at
Quite a
least
ways.
at least a few dozen meters out. So, except for the encampment off to the side. So, with a quick peek around, you'd be able to see. So,
Yeah.
well, once all three of us are out of the vent, before we head into town, Mercury's going to turn to Dante. So,
Mercury turns to Dante.
yeah. So, now that we're out of that death trap, if you wouldn't mind, I would like to look over some of the relics that you managed to pull out. I can't imagine you'd love to part with any, but if there are any you have that pique my interest, that you'd be willing to negotiate for, I'd be more than willing to attempt to change your mind. If you have nothing of interest, then I have no reason to attempt to take them from you.
Well, I suppose the Lumcaster would be at least somewhat interesting to you, and it's not something that I particularly need, but then again, I don't think you particularly need it either. It just seemed like a good idea to have as a distracting tool. And he pulls out a small wand-like object, not like a wand, but like a cylinder of metal. And just points it and clicks a button, and out of the front, a ball of light comes out and keeps floating until it attaches to the wall of Graia.
Does it dissipate after any amount of time, or?
Not as long as you guys are standing, like, talking there. Unless you're literally just sitting there and waiting for it to dissipate. I figured you were having a conversation.
Yeah. Does it only fire the one?
At a time, yes. It takes a little while to charge. Before it can produce another ball of light.
Certainly interesting. And definitely something that would be helpful in Graia, though not for the two of us. What else have you?
Well, I suppose the only other one that I would be willing to part with is this. And he pulls out like a dish from one of his pouches and sets it on the ground, and he turns it slightly, and out of it a set of holograms all appear. And it's very obviously a multi-tiered map that he's created, though very rough. Like it's mostly just directions all around, and then like X's and circles and like other very simple symbols for him to navigate with. This at first I thought was simply a machine that could cast light that you could interact with, but I found that if you held it near a doorway that was a Graian doorway, one of the odd ones that opened on their own, you could then use this to open it at will. From anywhere within Graia, as far as I could see. I tested it out to about half a kilometer.
Also another very helpful one if we ever went back into Graia. How large is the dish, by the way?
It's maybe like 4 inches across.
Do you mind if I hold it merely for weight comparison?
It only weighs about a kilogram.
About a kilogram? And what would you want for such a treasure?
What do you have to offer?
Very little, which is why I was hoping perhaps there was something you wanted specifically that I may be able to acquire, either from the encampment or that I might perchance have on my person. I have very little in the ways of gelt. I have very little in the ways of treasure from Graia. Just the iron ingots that didn't melt on our previous companions. And
well, where are you all
an
headed?
empty autoquill.
None of that interests me very much. Where are you all headed after you leave here? Surely you're not going to stay around Graia. You don't seem the religious type to me. Especially not now.
No, of course not. As unfortunate as this is, we leave from one hell for another. We're headed back up to Sanctuary.
Would you, mind if I accompany you?
That depends. Are you prepared to meet Tempest?
Tempest Thales.
Yes.
I suppose it would be an honor.
Our previous companion worked for him and sent us all on a mission to investigate Graia. And I think we can safely tell him it's dangerous.
Yes. Yes, you can.
Glad we're in agreement on this. So, if you're prepared for that hardship, I suppose you may accompany us.
Very well. If you provide for my journey and guarantee my safe travel, then when we get to
I
Sanctuary,
guarantee no such thing.
well, if
Traveling
if we
with
get
us
there,
appears to be the most dangerous decision you could make, now that you've exited Graia.
good. Glad you're trying to talk him out of this.
I'm just trying to be honest with him. Lots of people keep dying around me.
Good. Well, be that as it may, I need to get somewhere that isn't here anymore. So if you can at least get me somewhere where I can secure my own safer travel, then I will let you have either one of these two relics I showed you.
We will do our best. However, in a moment of clarity, after, let's say, 12 hours of not thinking about it, Mercury lets out a massive sigh and turns to Flint. Flint, Joanna was the one who had the writ from Tempest, wasn't she?
Oh, son of a bitch, she did. Well,
Looks-
getting back to Sanctuary
Fuck
just got a lot more
me
fun.
so hard. I don't think we have a secure route back to Sanctuary. I believe we're walking.
To be
Well-
fair, you guys never had a secure route back to Sanctuary. I don't
No,
know if you guys remember
But we
that.
at least... No,
You
I'm
just had
well
free
aware.
you just had passage to not be
Roger
harassed.
kept asking. He was like, so this means we'll absolutely not get attacked, right? I was like, no, this just means the guards won't shake you down. It's like, but it's written by Tempest. Yeah, and saying don't shake these guys down. So... But it was more than we have now, because
Yeah.
now we're just some fucking scum.
They're just bums wandering around.
Just a couple bums and a guy who looks like he hasn't eaten in a long time, who walk up to a shipyard and say, Tempest says take us back to Sanctuary. Don't be a dick.
He looks at both of you. Well, if we can get to the port of Artsdorf, I believe I could secure a means to get to Sanctuary.
That would be nice.
So, get me as far as Artsdorf, and you can have the relic, and I will secure us all a way back to Sanctuary. Hopefully by boat, but perhaps we will go by wagon if the prices are too steep. Good. It's not gonna kill you. It's like this
No, but it's
big.
over my bed and I don't like that.
It's waiting. Go
It
to
knows.
sleep, Zach. Take a nap.
Anyways. That we can do. I suppose now we just hope against hope that no one has stolen our wagon and people were kind enough to feed our groks so that they haven't starved to death over the last week.
Very good.
Chances are slim, but we survived Graia, so, you know, praise the God Emperor and all that jazz.
He doesn't know what you're saying, so he just kind of...
Yeah.
So you guys head back over to where your
Goddamn.
Groxies